I feel like the importance of a good director is vastly overlooked by many people. After all, it falls on the director's head to tell everyone on set what to do, most famously the actors. It is the director's job to tell the actors how to act in a specific scene and why they should behave like that. I like to see it that a great director can turn a mediocre script into a good movie, but a bad director can turn a great script into a mediocre movie. And there are many directors in the world, and today we are going to be looking at my top 5 favorite directors of all time, or in other words, the top 5 greatest directors of all time, in my opinion. Before we get started, it is important to note that these are my opinions. Art is and forever will be subjective, and whether you like it or not, movies and TV shows fall in the category of art. For example, me and you could go and watch the exact same movie at the exact same time, and by the time that the movie finishes, I could go out and say that this was easily top 10 movies of all time, while you can be embarrassed that you spent your time watching this movie, and guess what? We would both be right. Just because I have an opinion about a movie in this case, and you don't agree with it, doesn't necessarily mean that I am wrong and vice versa. And now that we have established that, let's begin, shall we? Number 5 goes to a pioneer of the modern blockbuster. This director has done some simple movies, but has also done movies that take it up a notch that are generational and revolutionary. He has 100% inspired many people to pursue their dreams with the help of his movies. I would say that in the rare case that you haven't seen any of his movies, there is a very, very good chance and very likely chance that you at least know of his work. He is the most commercially successful director of all time. I present to you Steven Spielberg. I love his movies, and I would assume that a lot of people do as well. I would say Catch Me If You Can, Saving Private Ryan, and Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark are my favorite of his work. But at the same time, he has done some classic movies like Jurassic Park, E.T., and Jaws. He has also done some genuine important movies that are regarded as some of the best movies of all time, and one example is Schindler's List. And he is still going strong today with movies like The Fabelmans, West Side Story, and Ready Player One, which by the way blew my mind. Very much deserving of being top 10, 5, 3, and even 1 on anyone's list for best director. I am a huge fan of his work and I cannot wait to see more. Number 4 goes to a true titan of the movie industry. Easily one of the most influential movie makers of all time. His love and passion for movies are next to no one, even going as far as founding a non-profit organization dedicated to preserving film. This guy's love for movies is so great that he even became a meme. He is a director, producer, screenwriter, and actor. The one and only Martin Scorsese takes number 4. Of his work, The Wolf of Wall Street alongside Goodfellas are my favorite of his work. But Martin Scorsese has demonstrated his ability to master multiple themes and styles when it comes to movies, from psychological thrillers to dark comedy. This man doesn't seem to miss. Movies like Goodfellas helped inspire many directors to join the business, and I'm sure to this day, Martin Scorsese still inspires people. He is also going very strong to this day with movies like The Irishman and Killers of the Flower Moon. His ability to get scripts and understand what they need and understand what the actors needs to thrive is an inspiration for me personally as a new director and many others. Number 3 goes to yet another influential director of modern cinema. His movies are known to be unique with non-linear storytelling, and some of his movies challenge the norm that most movies have when it comes to narrative, and that helps keep the audience engaged. Quentin Tarantino takes number 3. His ability to blend genres in movies like Inglourious Basterds and Kill Bill is really cool to see. The movies that I have seen from Quentin Tarantino have been a blast to watch, with my favorite being Inglourious Basterds, which is my second favorite movie of all time. He has also created a lot of iconic characters in movies like Hans Landa, The Bride, Vincent Vega, and Mia Wallace. Speaking of, Pulp Fiction is a cult classic, or is just a classic movie in general, that is regarded as one of the best movies of all time. And it has also helped inspire many directors and writers. From watching his movies, you can quickly see his passion and love for the industry, and he puts it out on every single frame. And he often references classic movies as well as directors. And he is still going strong today, with his recent movie being Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't personally watched it yet, and to be honest, it's been a very tough watch, but one day I will finish it. And a couple months ago, he was working on what was set to be his last movie, which was called The Movie Critic, but that has since been scrapped. I would obviously want him to continue, as well as many others, but if he decides that he wants to retire, I really hope he goes out with a bang. My second favorite director is the most unique director on this list. I love his work so fucking much, and not just because the movies are great, but also because they're really easy to watch and he takes time to perfect each and every frame of the movie, and I respect that so fucking much. His movies are known for their symmetry, the narrative style, and the visual perfection. And I don't know if it's just me, but his movies are like ASMR and they just calm you down, if that makes sense. If you don't know who I'm talking about, it's obviously Wes Anderson. If you don't know who I'm talking about, it's obviously Wes Anderson. My favorite of his work are The Grand Budapest Hotel, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Asteroid City, and The Darjeeling Limited. Most of the actors that are in his movies have a deep or calm voice, and I guess it makes it easier for him to collaborate with the same people like Owen Wilson, Jason Schwartzman, and Bill Murray, just to name a few. And he isn't limited to only live action. He has done stop motion movies like Fantastic Mr. Fox, but also Isle of Dogs. And he is obviously going really strong to this day with movies like Asteroid City and The French Dispatch. And he also did some short movies with Netflix that were really good as well. And my favorite director, number one, the best director of all time, is someone that to this day I haven't seen miss. Always an experience to watch his movies, from thriller to war to action to drama and even history. This man simply doesn't miss. One thing that he does for me is always motivate me to make my own movies. If I ever feel down or whatever, I watch one of his movies and boom, I'm good. He is also the director that made me realize that I really wanted to work with movies and it wasn't a phase and that I really had to do it. The one and only Christopher Nolan. My favorite of his work, but not only his work, but my favorite movie of all time is Inception. And the thing is, it has my favorite actor, Leonardo DiCaprio, teaming up with my favorite director, Christopher Nolan, to create my favorite movie of all time. I don't know about you, but that's just perfect. At the same time, The Dark Knight is my favorite superhero movie of all time, and I can confidently say that every single scene in The Dark Knight is memorable, and that is really hard to do in a movie, especially a superhero movie. He also does something that I admire just so much, and that is the fact that it feels like he has a thing against CGI. Like, he prefers to go the old school route and film it on location and actually create what you see on screen. Obviously, he has used CGI in movies like Interstellar, and that turned out to be absolutely perfect, but it feels like he just doesn't really want to do it when he doesn't need to. I could probably glaze him for 20 minutes if I really wanted to, but you get the idea. Christopher Nolan is my favorite director of all time. I'm done. I'll see you later. Bye.